I know you gonna dig this.
I'm outside in an AMG, right outside, TT.
Twin Talk Podcast.
I had so many things that I might have wanted to talk about, and I can't get off of this feeling. I can't let this feeling go, and I'm annoyed with myself that I can't let it go. The feeling is, my brother came over here a little while ago, and him and his girlfriend are at his place. They have tons of cats outside that they feed, like 5 cats inside that they keep inside, and they pamper these cats to high heaven, and I love it. I love cats. I love to see cats feel good, but he came over here, and he saw the state of the litter box of this cat that was put on me. And I say put on me because I've always kind of wanted a cat, or I thought I might have wanted another dog, but I wanted to do that when I'm in like a good apartment and I have some space and I have more savings and I feel like my life is together. This cat was dropped onto me randomly. I didn't get to choose it. And now I love this cat. I would never let it go. But I say cat that I didn't choose because, like, if you didn't choose a situation, then I don't really there's like a different way that I'll critique you based on there's a different way in which I'll critique how you deal with the situation based on if you chose it or not. I don't know if Adon realizes that I didn't choose this cat and that I'm just like trying to deal with something that I didn't necessarily want in the beginning. And once again, I love this cat now. I would never let it go. But it's frustrating for me that he came over and he saw how lazy I've been with the litter box. And he like looked at the litter box and was like, disgusting. Like, how could it be like this? Like, why would you ever do this? Well, actually, wait, I'm adding that on. He didn't say why. He just went, disgusting. That's gross. That's fucked up. And then he just moves on. Starts talking about other things. And this is the thing that's always frustrated me about my brother, is that he's not curious at all. Me, you could ask any of my friends. I critique everybody constantly. But one thing I'll do is I'll critique you. I'll tell you how something made me feel. And then instantly I start flipping to, all right, so like, why is it like this? Tell me like what you're dealing with. Like, what am I walking into that I don't understand? And, oh, little cat, you can leave. So I don't care that he like made a comment about the litter box. I don't care that he thinks it's gross. It is gross. The poop was piling up. I hadn't done anything about it in a while because part of the reason is laziness on my part. Part of the reason is like being poor, and then another part of the reason is like she goes outside and she's pissing everywhere in the backyard. So I'm just like, she's probably not even really using that litter box. Either way, all of it for me, the most important part for me is my brother looking at something, making a judgment, and then not giving a fuck to like confirm like, is my judgment warranted? Is there anything else I can learn from like this judgment I'm making? And it goes to the heart of my problem with him as a person. He's not curious. Whatever you come up and appear to him as in the moment, that's what you are, and he needs no other information. And it frustrates me. It gets me angry. Because when I look at my life, the beauty and the joys I've gotten out of my life is from asking people about themselves, having empathy for somebody's situation, and like being curious and caring about what someone's going through. And at every turn, my brother pretty much shows me he does not care about how other people feel. He doesn't care about anything past what he's got. The thing is, like, if he listened to me say that, he would go, dude, why you make me sound fucked up? That's fucked up. But it's not fucked up. It's not. He's not walking around being mean to people. He's not walking around being an asshole. It's subjective to me that I think he's an asshole. That's subjective. He's not fucking murdering people. He's not raping babies or stealing. He's just worrying about himself. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, we're all different. Every human is another multiverse, and we all have to learn how to coexist together. And in my multiverse, it's fucked up to talk to people the way my brother does, and then not give a fuck about what they've got going on, why they're doing what they're doing, how they feel about what they're doing. He makes all those assumptions and all those judgments, and then he moves on with that. And I just hate it. I fucking hate it. That's why, like, as we've been moving further and further apart, and I've been having to understand my life as a solo person instead of a twin, I just go, oh, I'm actually very okay with this because every time your life shifts, like every time you get a new job and your life shifts, or you get a new relationship and your life shifts, or you move to a new city and your life shifts, you have to stop and you have to like look back and realize what your reality was and what your reality is now. And just like any coming of age tale where like, I don't know, some kids see somebody die in the woods, or like we all have to bury a body together. Whatever you have, like I've had these experiences with my brother that make me go, oh, nothing is the same anymore. I would never wish for things to be how I miss and what I used to have fun in. I long for them to be some new evolved version, but I keep getting these awakenings with my brother that make me go, oh, I realize who you fucking are now. All that it's I'm going too deep. I'm starting to get antagonistic in a weird way. I learn things about my brother every time he talks, and I love it. So now that I feel like I got that feeling off of my back, uh I don't know. I don't know what to talk about. I wanted to talk about this painting, but I don't want to just jump right into it immediately. I just want to like kind of like I love to express, so I need to get a couple feelings off the top of my head in it for a second. And I feel really good about stealing this kitty litter that I really needed really bad, because the Target had made it really hard to steal. Like for the last 2 years during the pandemic, they had these registers in the back, and you could just go back there, swipe your stuff, not swipe maybe 4 items, and just walk out, and nobody would say anything, and it was amazing. And I just the older I get, the more I'm like, hey man, all this is a racket. I'm seeing all the prices go up. I just refuse to pay. A lot of times I feel bad saying this because I realize where this could go really wrong. But a lot of life for me is you have one life to live. And if you spend it not getting the things that you want, you're kind of a dip. You're kind of a mark. Like there are all these moral things that we should weigh. There's different like you should have some kind of like sense of justice, or like some like sense of community, or empathy and caring about other people. You should try really hard not to be a sociopath, but everyone's still like my brother. Be out for yourself, because no one's gonna come up behind you and go, hey, you did a good job today. Here's a cookie, and here's $100. You deserve that. You want a shoulder rub? You deserve that. That doesn't happen in life. And so I don't fault people for being thieves and like getting a little bit for themselves. So like even if you get to the heights of fracking billionaires and what's it called, military industrial like a war profiteers and stuff, arms dealers. It's hard for me to even be mad at those guys, because they're just doing what like small time crooks do on a world scale. Everything scales down to me, and so if it's hard. I don't like admitting it. I hate admitting this, but the older I get, it feels like might makes right is the only thing that matters. When I hear people talk about like economic plans, or capitalism versus socialism versus communism versus anarchy versus like a lot of it ends up just sounding the same to me. A lot of it just ends up sounding like people trying to figure out a way to get control. And hey, the whole game is just who's gonna do the best. Right now, capitalism is winning. I think a lot of smart people realize that capitalism needs to evolve into some sort of like partly social democratic, like sort of like coming together. But there are some people that are running capitalism that would never want that to change. Not because like they don't want people to be helped, not because of any like real reason besides I'll have less money. And you know, we can sit around and we can go, hey, you should be fine with the amount of money that you have. But that's just not how life works. Anyone who's ever played some sort of like resource building game, Like what's one that I'm currently playing? Okay, an app game. I'm about to delete it because the developers of this game have fucked around with it so much that it's just not fun anymore. There used to be little things that are interesting, but now it feels like a grind for no reason. So what this grinding game is called Dreamdale, and you're this little human. You run around, you collect money or you collect resources to fill tasks, and you try to upgrade your machines so that your resources can get made and come to you quicker. And you're just trying to you're just grinding. It's just a grind game, and I have fun. I like it because my little like Pavlov's dog, like squirrel brain, likes to run around and be like, "Ooh, I collected all the things. Ooh, let's see if we can speed up this machine so that I get more things faster. Oh, let's do the calculations for how many things I'll need from there to convert to that to then convert to the item I need." And it's those little simple. You get a treat for pressing the button. I like that. It feels good. But anyone who's ever played games like these, you start out being like, "Oh, it's so hard to get $1,000." Then you're going, "Oh my god, it's so hard to get 100,000, but I could get 50,000." Then you start going like, "Oh my god, I have millions, but oh, I should really try to make billions so I can have more options." That's what it's like in life. And so, like, these people who look at these billionaires who are just trying to, like, monopolize as much of the world as they can, they go, like, "Why would you do that? People only need this much. You don't need a bigger house." Everything is relative. Everything goes back to a baseline after you reach a new high. You get used to shooting a milligram of heroin. Now you need 2 milligrams. I don't even know if those doses are right. I'm just making a fucking example. Everything is at equilibrium. What's the word? There's a word for like when everything goes back to the baseline. Beer is great. A 6% beer gets you drunk after you have a couple, and that's great. Now you need a 9% beer to actually get a little bit drunk, and that's just what life is. And so it's hard for me to look at people who are doing wrong and go, you should treat the world the way that I would treat the world if I, poor ass Ian, all of a sudden was a billionaire. Like, no, so that's not how it works. Nothing's happening in a vacuum like that. I think it's ridiculous. I think we're not having honest conversations about how to change society because we're too worried about how much we hate rich people. And there's a lot of reasons to hate rich people, and I'm very fine with that. I have this art piece that I'm making that I'll make the art piece, I'll post it, and then I'm gonna do a whole podcast talking about what I feel about rich people. But I'll just say that basically the art piece is basically all the most famous cartoon characters who are known for being rich with their heads cut off on pikes. And each one of them represents a rich person that I really have a lot of disdain for. Like Mom from Futurama is in there, and she represents Jeff Bezos mostly because Futurama, with their newest season that came out last year, they did a whole story where Mom basically creates Amazon, and she basically becomes Amazon. And in the story, like how do I explain? I kind of checked. There are moments where I checked out, and I just like this one metaphor they do, but I'm trying to remember how to explain it. Basically, what's happening is Mom's company, that's supposed to be Amazon, Mom's company is expanding to encompass the entire universe, and it's a metaphor for how Amazon comes in and starts to take control of everything. So it's simple. It's a very simple. I'm not making something that has like 3 levels deep of like chess move meetings. It's just me going, "Hey, I fuck rich people, and here's the cartoon equivalents to all of you," because I don't think it would go over well with some people if I literally drew Jeff Bezos' head and put it on a stick. But if you make it a cartoon character, I feel like there's more of like a wiggle room for conversation and people thinking that less people will think I'm a fucking nutcase. So yeah, there's that. But enough rambling about society and philosophy, fake philosophy. I don't know enough about philosophy to claim that I was even getting philosophical. But let's talk about this art piece that I'm very happy about. I haven't painted for a long time. No, that's wrong. I have painted. I haven't completed a painting in a long time. I'm at my desk, I'm talking on this microphone. If I turn around, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I can keep going till probably 30. There's about 30 canvases around me right now that all could have been done in the last year. And I saw my sister recently. Her name's Jessie. She's my nephew Tally. He'll be on here to talk every once in a while. She's she's not my blood sister. When me and my brother were little, my mom needed help raising us, and there was a girl at the boarding school that my mom worked at. Her name was Jessie, and Jessie needed somewhere to live, needed a job, and my mom said, "Hey, help take care of my kids. I'll help you." And I just kind of like you because you seem like a chill person, and she just became part of the family. And like my nephew, who will be on here every once in a while, I used to change him when he was a baby, and I specifically remember him like peeing on me and laughing, and then peeing on me. Like, it's a funny meshed together family of not blood related people, and but like 2 years ago maybe, we all got kind of separated emotionally in different ways. And Jesse was very angry at the family and said some things that made people feel like they couldn't talk to her again. But to how I see it is that my family is extremely stubborn. Jesse's kind of a nutcase. We've always known she's a little bit nutty. She said some nutty things. My mom and my brother are so stubborn that they don't want to give her an inch. They're like, hey, I'm not gonna just be here and just go like, oh, forgive. She's a little bit nutty. I'll just forgive. No, they're like Republican Christians. They're just like, you broke the law. Now you're gonna get it. Now you deserve punishment. It's just like, it's kind of sick. It's like it's ego infused. And in my this is my opinion. Maybe I'm the crazy one. Who knows? But to me, it's all ego infused, and nobody wants to look like they're giving in to the other person because they feel so insulted by whatever. Blah, 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 blah. All that, and I still have like, every once in a while, my mom will be like, "Oh, how's Jessie? Is she okay? Have you talked to her recently?" Like, it's funny how people pretend not to care, but then they'll make small actions where it's like, I've seen this movie before. I've watched characters in movies do exactly what you're doing now. You care. It's obvious. Say you care. Just care. It's okay. No one's gonna no one's gonna strike you down with lightning because you showed a little bit of vulnerability. It kills me. But I saw Jessie recently, and so I'm updating her on like life. She hasn't really been around since me and Adon stopped painting and working together. And I was trying to express how whenever I've talked to my friends or even my brother or my mom, or when I try to talk to them about what it's like to not be around a Dom 24/7 anymore, they treat me like some kind of bitch that like just can't get over some very simple bullshit. They like almost want to roll their eyes and be like, "Oh my god, we get it, you're sad, move on." And it's always been really annoying for me. One of my biggest like my problems with my family is like, you know, my problems are my own. Ultimately, at the end of the day, my problems are my own. But when you talk about how like a family unit helps somebody get their shit together, what I would have liked for my family over the last 5 years is for us to rally together and care about each other. I don't get motivated to do anything for myself when the people closest to me are basically telling me I don't care about you. Or, no, I'm not going to say are literally telling me I don't care about you. I don't need you. You're a burden on this family. No one likes you. Fuck you. I don't care how you feel. When that's what you're saying to me verbatim, it makes me go, all right, fuck it. Like, I'll just like slowly drink myself to death, or like, who cares? If the people closest to me don't care, then what am I doing anything for? And so that's why in the last like year, I've really pushed myself to like hang out with one of my closest friends, Michael, one of my now closest friends, Tomas, and I've reached out to other people and tried to like hang out and find community outside of my brother. It's a really big deal when everyone's born alone. I didn't realize that for 20 plus years. I was so deep in being a twin that the idea of being alone was like not even in my worldview. Adon, my brother, always felt alone. He was dealing with that earlier. He felt alone in the twin relationship, which is why it was easy for him to walk away. For me, it's like it's like it's like a baby bird sitting in a nest, and somebody just comes up and just smacks the nest off the tree, and then as the baby bird hits the ground, and then everyone goes, "Hey, get up! You're okay. This isn't a big deal. Yeah, you cry, baby. Get up." It's like my whole reality was flipped upside down, and I don't need to be coddled forever. I just wish that there was like the reason I hate my mom and my brother and the way they look at life. There's no curiosity. There's almost no empathy. And it's really hard to deal with. So for me, not being around my brother for the last 5 years has been like dealing with a death. It's been like dealing with I've had my heart broken in relationships like 6 times, and it feels exactly like one of those heartbreaks. It feels like I've lost a family member. It feels like I'm in mourning. And I've tried to explain that to people, and they look at me like I'm kind of retarded. I found like there's this girl online I know who we started talking just because, not like deep talking, but like she liked my art. I went, "Oh, I like your art," and then we found out we were both twins, and we went, "Oh, that's interesting." And then not too long later, her twin died, and we talked for a moment how fucked up that was, and how like not many people are gonna understand how crazy that is. It's different than like losing a brother or losing a mom. Losing a twin is, if you have a regular twin connection, like maybe it's not regular, maybe even a connection among twins is special, but for argument's sake, if like you have the regular twin connection, that's like it's like losing a piece of yourself. I have nightmares about my brother dying and us never talking about any of these things, because he's fine to seclude himself away from everyone. I'm not. It gives me anxiety knowing that like our relationship is essentially we're essentially strangers to each other now. And the best times we have are usually when there's like a third person between us, so there's a buffer and we don't have to get all weird or emotional. And I really hate it. It kills me on the inside. So all of this is just to get you to understand that like when I'm talking to Jessie and she's talking and I'm expressing to her, I'm hesitantly it was Jessie and this other older woman that we know. There's an old friend from when we were little. I'm hesitantly going like, yeah, it's, I'm not hanging out with my brother. It's hard to deal with. It's kind of like a death or whatever, but whatever, it's not a big deal. And they both stop me and they're like, no, I know exactly what you mean. That is like a death. And I had a moment of being like, oh yeah, Ian, your feelings are valid. Like all you've had is people who like look at you cross-eyed when you say that, but you just found some people who understand what you're saying, and you need to remember like that is some serious shit, and it's okay. It's okay to describe it as serious as it is. And it made me feel really good to be able to like having people in my life who will genuinely care, instead of my brother or my mom who's just like who's just like, oh, what, get to it, hurry up, what is it, what? It's refreshing, and it reminds me like, hey, Ian, you have this thing where you like you care deeply about like always working with family no matter how hard it gets. But you need to, take a little bit of what Adon and your mom and other people love. The idea that your family is not always your blood. Your family can be chosen. I started dipping deeper into that for the last year, and it's helped me pull out. What I need around me is people that care. I can't be around people that don't give a fuck. If you ever hear my brother on here talking with me, every single time he does what I'm talking about, I will point it out, because the one... Uh-oh. Is it good? Is everything okay? All right. The one thing that ruins my feelings about my brother is just he just doesn't care. If you were to do an imitation of Eddie Murphy or Steve Harvey or Jim Carrey, there are lines you would grab and everyone would go, oh, you're saying that thing Jim Carrey says. My brother's thing that he says is he waves his hand and he goes, I don't care. I'm trying not to scream. When I've talked to him and he waves his hand at me and says I don't care, I have murder fantasies about grabbing his hand and cutting it off, and then holding his hand by the wrist and just smacking him in the face and going, you don't care? Do you care about this? Do you care about this? There's nothing worse to me than being dismissive. If you're gonna be dismissive to people, what the fuck are you even talking to them for? Go. Go somewhere. Go walk off a pier somewhere. What the fuck are you doing being dismissive? I'd rather you scream and yell at me and hate me than be dismissive. So talking about that with Jesse and this other lady really helped me solidify that I need to let go of the childhood traumas that have sort of programmed me to be a little bit like too cautious or bitch made around my family. And I think they would disagree because I'm very prone to yelling or screaming. And to me, I think I'm yelling and screaming when communication is broken down, when you're telling me you don't care, but then you also want to talk over me. When communication isn't happening, I my brain flips and I go, oh, okay, if we're not communicating, then I'm gonna win in the battle of saying the worst thing ever. I'm here to honestly communicate, but if you can't communicate, all right, let's see who can torch things better. And I hate doing that. And I just, I learned a lot from talking to Jesse. Or I don't even know if I learned a lot. I accepted a lot. I accepted that like my feelings are valid. I accepted a ton of things. It's whatever. But all of this kind of for me goes into the painting. What was that painting? There's a circular painting I posted on my Instagram. It's got 3 birds on it. 1 mama bird. 2 little twin birds. She got her wing over them. They're sitting on a branch. Little stars around, some leaves around. Very textured. On the top of the painting it says, "We 3" with the number 3. And I guess for me this painting was like a practice in like meditating on what my family is. Or like meditating on what I wish my family was. I wish we would all stick close together. I wish my mom would like put her arm around us and really like guide us. Because my whole life I don't feel like my mom was ever guiding me through anything. I feel like I was constantly getting yelled at for what I did wrong. It would be if something was right, I would never really know, or I would never if I did something right, it was never like enforced. It was never like, oh, you did something good. Look, this is an action you should repeat. Hey, and it frustrates me that all I can remember when I think back is my mom yelling at me for things that if I found a kid doing that, I'd go, oh, this is just a simple conversation, and then we can move on. Oh, this is just a learning moment, and then or oh, my kid would learn if they would just saw me doing it. Because there are a couple things that I really took from my mom. One was we would go into grocery stores or like random places, and the way she would talk to people was fascinating to me. And I remember one time specifically where she talked with a dude in a way that made me go, oh, how does she know him? And when we walked away, it was in a grocery store. When we walked away, I said to my mom, did you know that guy? Who's he? And she went, no. I went, oh, that's cool. And she went, yeah, just in life, you need to know how to talk to anyone. And when I heard that, it's one of my formative memories. I remember being a kid, hearing that, and actively thinking, hell yeah, I have to like learn how to talk to people because that's the key to life. Whatever my mom was doing there, that's the key. And so it's frustrating for me to be able to be 32, look back and go, wow, I was getting taught nothing, and I was just getting yelled at for the things that I didn't do. And it makes me long for I don't know, does it make me long for like a reality where she didn't have to be that person? Because I don't even look at that and go like, oh, fuck you, mom, you're a bad person. I go, I'm mad that happened, but I understand because my mom was dealing with a lot. She wanted to like leave Philly and not be like her brothers and sisters and just become like a product of her environment. And so like her doing all of that on her own, it's not like I can't sit here and be mad that I didn't learn something, because what I didn't get, I get, there's a trade-off. I got this beautiful, unique life experience that I would never trade for anything. So I guess I don't long for anything to be different in the past, or I don't. I guess I respect what happened in the past. I respect and understand how it all worked together in a multifaceted tandem to like create who I am today. I just wish that the birds I painted on that circle could be who we are today. It's not a longing for what I wish it could have been. It's a hope for what things could still be. And the reason the words "we three" are at the top of the canvas is because another one of my very formative. I remember there's a lot of time. I think that a lot of people. Uh oh. I don't know. I don't know if I didn't catch all the things I was saying just a second ago because my iPad said it said it just gave me that message for it's being on 5%, and I don't know if it was recording while I was talking. In case it was recording while I was talking, or in case it wasn't recording while I was talking, I'm just gonna sum up that last bit. I think that this painting I made of the birds is about longing for what the relationship my family has could still be. I thought that maybe it was me missing what it was in the past or longing for what it could have been in the past. And when I think about all those things that I long for, I can't be mad at who my mom is or what she chose or what she did because I just see it as it's all different inevitabilities and different random coincidences. So it made me realize what this painting is a longing for what the family could be like in the future. And I think that's beautiful. And so what it on the top of the painting it says "we three," and for me that's another really formative moment in my life. I remember when I would have I think other people like had a lot of times with their parents where they sat down and was like, what was I like as a baby? And then you hear things, you learn stuff. Never done that with my mom. Never in my life. I never even thought to do that because a lot of our lives when me and my brother were kids, my mom would say, make yourself small. When there was like company or when we went off to go like do something at like an event or something, she would say, make yourself small. And as a kid, I was like, oh, whatever, okay, I'll just go in my room and be quiet. As an adult, that is one of the most fucked up things I think you could ever tell a kid. And I do have a lot of resentment over it. But I'm saying this to say that like I don't I don't talk to my mom about what it was like for her raising me and Adon as babies before me and Adon started to be like, you know, 6 to 9 years old and have like our own agency and our own thoughts. Uh, I wish I had asked more of that growing up. But there are some things that I do remember that I really like. Like one time we were watching Aladdin and we had the VHS and my mom flipped over the VHS and there's a picture of Iago. And maybe it's on the cover on the front of the back, but there's a picture of Iago the bird. And I remember watching my mom draw it, and to me, it was like watching a human printer. And I remember just being juiced to try and draw, and then I thought that was beautiful. And so, oh my god, the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, so I do have like a couple moments where I watched my mom do something with me and my brother, and I feel like it was easy for her to hang out and relate to us when we were just kids because I think my mom has a lot of like emotional conflicts and like hold things that like hold her back, uh, which is in like dynamics with more than one person or with somebody who's like not a child, you know, with a child you could just kind of like say what you want and lie or like not be serious about things. With an adult who sees what's going on and is looking you dead in the eyes, you kind of like have to face yourself in a way, and I feel like it's easy for her to not face those things and just deal with little kids who don't know what the fuck's going on. Uh, but I remember we'd be on these car rides, and she would not even car rides. We'd be on the couch, maybe watching a movie, or I remember we would sometimes watch Fear Factor, or there would just be moments where we would cuddle up, and I remember these so deeply because we don't hug as a family. Me and my brother try to hug a lot, but I don't know, for my brother it feels like a very stale, stiff, rhythmless hug. It's very confusing sometimes. It feels like very what's it called? Sterile. It's a very sterile hug. But I remember us being a very cuddly family when we were little, and my mom would like grab me and Adon really close, and she would kind of like rock with us, and she would start singing, "We three family will always be," and that was it. And it would just repeat over and over again, and I remember it deeply in my head, and so I put "We three" at the top, and that's it's as simple as that. Not very deep, but it means a lot to me, and yeah. The other thing is that we went on a lot of car rides with our mom, driving like from Arizona to other places, like up and down the coast, like California. We've been on a lot of fucking car rides, and my mom would just play the best music. And one song is by Desiree, DES''REE. The song is called "Gotta Be," and it's the song like if you go to the post on Instagram, there's an audio playing over the painting, and it's the song gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. And I remember being a kid and listening to that song and be like, yeah, I gotta be bold, yeah, I gotta be strong and wise, hell yeah, all this stuff is important. And I remember feeling like you, I don't know, it's just an important message, and I feel like there are a lot of aspects of me that took that song into the rest of my life, and it's just when you're a kid and your parents play music, it's one of how many songs. If I had to pick, I'll say it like this: if I had to pick three songs that I remember hearing as a kid, "Gotta Be" by Desiree is like top three. I fucking love that song. I play it and I feel extreme nostalgia. I love it. So yeah. The painting was done in a way that I really wanna start doing now. I don't like just painting I don't like doing just one medium. I remember in high school when I learned the term mixed media. Like I'm a mixed media artist. I love that. I love using and I don't like when artists are like, I have to be traditional. I have to sit here at an easel and learn my color theory. And well, you should learn color theory. And I'm a serious artist that only uses pastels, or I only use watercolor. We are creative humans, and we are meant to try to go outside the box, or just be creative in some kind of way. And you know, if you want to be truly different in this life, that's almost impossible. Everything's been done. Everything is meta now. Everything is a recycled trope of something that came before it. And I think the truest ways to be different is expressing how you express. And I feel like there's way more honesty in using tools where they fit in instead of being like, I'm just a watercolor artist or I'm just an acrylic painter. Sometimes acrylic and watercolor can look great together, and they both can be powerful in different ways and strengthen each other. And I just feel like it's a metaphor for how I see the world, is that like coming together is really the only way to make the best shit. So with this bird piece, what I did was I drew the birds on Procreate. I'll put out a little time lapse for that later. I drew the birds on Procreate, and then I sent it to FedEx. I had them printed out on some nice thick, like some cardstock paper that won't get fucked up. I got some matte medium, which is like a collaging paste. Really, what I should have done is make some wheat paste because it's cheap, free, to dry. Dries clear. Would have been great. Matte medium is so fucking expensive. This tiny. How big is this bottle? How big is this bottle? This bottle is 8 fluid ounces. 8 fluid ounces of matte medium for like $15. That's fucking nuts. That's fucking nuts. So if you want to do what I did, make some wheat paste. Make it for free. You need flour and water. You can find the directions on Google. You'll be fine. So I painted the background. Then I painted that log on the bottom. And I really go look at that log. I thought I had that shit on lock at first. I was so excited to paint a branch. But I painted all this like I used the paint to try to sort of make it feel like wood, like a tree branch. I had like a lot of darks on the bottom. I had these lights going on. I had little highlights that sort of fade away as it gets lower down the branch. And then I thought, all right, time to put some lines on it. And with every black line that I put on that branch, I went, fuck, you messed up. Fuck, you messed up. Another line, fuck, you messed up. I just kept fucking up. And then I thought, okay, look, this branch already looks like shit. The lines look like shit. The color is fine. But the lines, the black lines I put on the branch don't go with the shading of the branch. There'll be a big patch of light that goes one way, and then I put a black line going right through that instead of tracing around the light, so that I line work that as a piece of the log instead of putting a line through that. It's so stupid, and it's such an example of how I don't stop, breathe, think, make a plan, and then move forward. And this is one of the biggest reasons to complete paintings is so you can watch these mistakes you have and make plans for how to do it better the next time. It's so fucking frustrating to me that like I was so excited to do this piece, and I just sort of like trip over my dick every time I'm about to do something good. And so I have the lines on this branch, and as you'll notice if you look at the branch, at the top there's highlights. There's shitty highlights. There's like it looks like I took paint marker, because I did. I took paint marker, and an orange paint marker to try to like accentuate where there are little highlights, and then I took a yellow paint marker on top of that and highlighted the highlights even more. And I thought that was gonna fucking crush it. And I was looking at those paint marker strokes, and I'm just like, these paint marker strokes are lazy, thoughtless, boring. Quick, if you're an artist, you can look at them and go, oh, you did that really quick. You did that really, really quick. And hey, no shame. I'm trying to rush. I'm trying to get one painting done a week this year. I used to get more paintings than that done, and if I could be serious, I could do 5 paintings in a week. So I'm trying not to beat myself up about it because I'm going quick, and I'm trying to go, hey, you see what you did. You don't need anybody to rub your nose in the shit. You smell it. You get it. Don't do that next time. Think. Stop and think. Stop and think. Stop and think. And I'm repeating that to myself constantly, trying to get myself to be better in the places where I need to be. So I had the branch down. I had the lines down. I had those orange and yellow highlights down. And then I went on top of that and did some more like work with the black paint, because I thought I could put more like little accent lines or little like draw where there'd be like a little chip in the wood, or like draw a little like, whatever. Give it a little bit more life. And I stepped back and I still was like, oh, it's still kind of weak, bro. It's still, why is it still so weak? And so I kept going and kept going. I take the birds. It's, if you know wheat paste, it's literally like wheat paste. I squirt a bunch of matte medium onto the canvas. It dries clear, so you don't have to really worry about, covering anything. It dries clear. The one thing you do have to worry about, though, is if you were to put matte medium onto a canvas that has no sort of like finish or clear coating on it, it'll reactivate that acrylic paint and start to smear it a little bit. So you just, what you want to do before you use matte, if you're going to do what I'm talking about and paint something and then wheat paste matte some kind of image, some sort of paper image on top, you need to make sure that you spray your canvas with a clear varnished finish so that when you're using your matte medium, it's not reactivating paint and messing things up. Very important. Very, very important. So I put, squirt a bunch of matte medium down, the birds cut out, put the birds on the matte medium, and put more matte medium on top of the birds. Take a big brush and just start sliding it down like how people put decals on cars. When people put a new skin or a decal on a car, they have like a little scraper and they make sure that they're like sliding from the outside in, pressing the decal down onto this car and pushing all the air bubbles out to make sure it's as flat as possible on the car. Try to make it as flat as possible on the canvas. And then when you do that, you're going to have a weird sort of edges. Maybe you didn't cut as smooth as you could have. Maybe the lines aren't as thick as you'd like them to be. You came in here! Maybe the lines aren't as thick as you'd like them to be. So after I mat the bird down, and then I dry it with a hairdryer, I take a paintbrush and I dip it in the black, and I redo just the outside of the bird. So it feels more like it's part of the canvas. It takes the mind a couple seconds to go, oh, that's like a piece of paper on there. I've had people comment on the painting, and they just go, wow, man, you painted and got such great detail on those birds and stuff. No. I drew that on the iPad, and it's so fun. A lot of my paintings are gonna have something that I drew, had it printed out, and then matted it to a canvas because I just love the feel. I love the feel. I already explained everything else about it. I don't need to go deeper. So now I've matted these birds down onto the branch, and I step back, and the biggest thing I'm noticing is I hate the background. I did the background so quickly because I just thought, whatever, we're trying to get this done. Don't be too serious about it. But once I was getting onto the branch on top of the background, I started to go, man, I care about this a lot more, and I wish I'd taken time with the background. Once I matted the birds down, I went, fuck. Now I really regret not taking time with the background. And so this is an important part of critique and looking back at your art pieces. What I'm going to do on the next piece is take a ton of time on the background and give it the time it needs to be more complete, because I deeply feel I feel a deep sense of regret for how lazy I was on that background, and I'm lucky that the rest of it works out enough. So yeah, we will do better on that next time. So I put the bird down. I realized I hate the background. I started to do more atmosphere stuff like sprinkling dots around it. And then I realized there needs to be some green that helps pop everything else. And that's where I put the leaves in. I do them real quick. I have time-lapse videos of me painting the leaves, and I'm about to post those probably after I do this podcast. And I'm really happy about the leaves. It helped to bring balance. It helped to bring an atmosphere a little bit to the piece. And by the time I put those leaves on, I step back, I look at the branch, and now I'm going, damn. I hated on this branch so much, but it's still bringing something to the piece, and I can kind of, it's kind of like when you have kids and you kind of hate your kids, or you think they're like stuck up teenagers, and then they go off to college and they come back. You and your kid both had a minute to get away from each other and breathe, and then see each other for who you are instead of the animosity you had living in the house. And that's how I feel about the painting. And that's how I feel about the branch. I look at the branch and I go, you know what, branch? You're not half bad, bro. You're not half bad. I see all these problems in you, and they're all problems I put in you from not giving you enough time and care and attention, like my mom did early in this podcast. That's why I have so much empathy, because I look at my paintings as children, and then I look at how my mom was as a parent, and I go, God damn, that shit is really hard. I see all the problems that are in the branch that are put there because of me, but because I'm disconnected from those choices that I made, I can now come back to the branch and go, I can just see you for the places you're working instead of the places that I hate you. And I just think that that's a little bit beautiful. And I really enjoy that. Yeah, if you ever ask me about the branch on this piece, I'll literally point to all the things I hate. But the process of doing it, the process of fucking up, the process of reflecting back on it, and the process of ultimately seeing the good things about it at the end made me go, I could almost cry right now because it makes me go, I'm so thankful that I fucking have a brain and eyes and I can just play with all of this. And I can't wait to play with it better on the next piece. And that's kind of it. That's kind of it. The painting is sitting in my mom. Let me see if she sent me a picture. The painting is sitting in my mom's classroom at her school, and it is for sale. I will take nothing lower than $500. The what I'd like to take is $1,000. God damn these ads. God damn these ads. I will take nothing lower than $500. The ideal goal to sell this piece is $1,000. I'm gonna be making a painting every single week. When they sell, my mom gets half and I get half, and that's just it. Everything I'm doing goes to my mom from now on. Everything. She made me. I'm not doing anything else in my life. Everything's gonna go to my mom. If you want to figure out a reason to help me, help my mom. That's the reason. Yeah. Do I have anything else I want to talk about? It's gonna wait. I didn't want this to be 50 minutes. I wanted it to be 30. But I'm a talking as bitch, and I like to overemphasize on certain things. I think that's. There's so much that I can talk about. But I'm trying to do a podcast every Wednesday. And after I conquer that for a few weeks, not a few weeks, like a couple months. I need to like show that I can be consistent like 10 times in a row. And hopefully while that's happening, I'll get so excited about being on time that I'll like on Tuesdays or Thursdays or Sundays, I'll have other things I want to say and I'll just start recording. All I want to do before I die is express. There's nothing else to do but that. So I hope you enjoyed a little bit. I'll be back. I'll talk about this next time. But there's just people that I'm gonna be having on here to talk to that I'm really excited. Like if you like Midori, she does OnlyFans. You can find her on Instagram, Midori Bug. She's the shit. She's been the homie for a couple years now. I think that she's an amazing person, and I want her to express herself. Because there's this fucking weird chasm that OnlyFans girls will be in where like everyone wants them for their body, but they're also like, hey, I also have interests in things I care about. And some girls are shallow with it, some girls are deep with it. I would consider Midori very deep with it. And what I've always thought she should do is like be more vocal and express more so that people can like not just see, the physical. And she's not like she's not doing that. But I think there's a way to do it more and do it in a way that forces people to not question if you're making art or not because you're also sexy. And it's going to be fun to talk to her. She said she's down. A lot of people get nervous to talk. Like I have a lot of friends that are nervous. For 10 years, I've tried to get friends to want to podcast with me. And some do, and a lot don't. And a lot get scared about it. And a lot go, well, I have nothing good to say. Bro, Joe Rogan's got a podcast. Joe Rogan's got nothing good to say. If fucking Brendan Schaub if Brendan Schaub could be a podcaster and make a living off of it and feed children off of it, then everybody should be a podcaster. It's really not a big deal. But what is a big deal is like I've tried to convince friends to podcast, and it's funny because they'll be like, yeah, I want a podcast. And then when I turn the podcast on and I start talking, I'll notice that they have like horrible podcast etiquette. Like I'll be talking about one subject and I'll be trying to slowly go down this topic and be like, let's completely clear this topic out before we move on. And in the middle of me talking about something, they'll just start bringing up other shit and being unfocused and taking the conversation in random tangents. I love a random tangent, but don't bring up these random tangents without some sort of reason. Like every time in this podcast that you're listening to right now, every time I went on a random tangent, I brought it back to what I'm talking about. Even all the shit talking about my family came back to me talking about why I made this piece and how I thought I saw the piece versus why I actually made it. I had a revelation in this moment. I didn't think about this beforehand. There is a way to be off topic but stay on topic. And it frustrates me trying to like talk to my friends and be like, hey man, let's do a podcast. And then I see, oh, you don't really have the mind for this. I have to probably like I have to probably like train you up and like coach you before we turn the mic on. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Like just with my brother, I don't want to tell my brother to be curious. Oh, like a girl with her boyfriend. No girl wants to tell you, give me flowers. I want you to know, or I want you to be curious about if I want flowers. I don't want to tell you to do it because then it doesn't feel right. So for months, like I have two friends who I see a lot, and then there are like other people that I'm also talking about. I don't bring up the podcast. I don't go, hey, we're podcasting now. I'm going, hey, I'm podcasting all the time. You know I want to podcast with you. You bring it up. If you don't bring it up, then for me, hey, you don't really want to do it, and that's fine. I don't know how bad you want to do it if I push you to the table. I need you to want it for me to be comfortable. Like sex. I don't want to fuck you if you don't want to fuck me. But I'm not going to go find out and then have you like lie to me because you don't want to say no. Come to me and say you want to fuck, and then we'll do this. The other person that I'm gonna have on is London Yellow. Love this guy. He's fucking hilarious. Internet sensation. I feel like if you want to talk about SoundCloud and music, like a decade from now, and make a documentary about it, you have to talk about London Yellow. He's too good. He's an artist. He makes music. I'm saying he's an artist. Like a lot of people call rappers artists, but he doesn't make music. He makes art. That's what I firmly believe. Meek Mill raps. Boosie raps. I don't know. Kanye West makes art. London Yellow makes art. There's a huge difference. So he said he would be down to just sit down and talk, whatever. and I'm really excited to talk to him because so much of how he expresses himself online with his music and his persona is like a meme, or it's a wink and a nudge joke. And so there's parts of him where I'm like, I don't know what's real, and I have all these questions about these songs because he puts these songs out where it'll seem silly and goofy, a whole song about a fart or a roach or whatever, but when you listen to the lyrics, you go, oh, you're really like hiding gems in here, and I really want to ask him about some of these gems. Very excited to do that. All right, we're almost hitting an hour. This was not supposed to be an hour. I'm just trying to scramble and think if there's anything else I wanted to say before I dip out. Is that it? Yeah. All right. Bye. Stay cute. Take care of yourself. Love you. Mwah.